Welcome to the Brotherhood of Fatherhood podcast. I am your host, Scott Ramage, and in this episode, we're going to be speaking with Eric Mitchell. Eric is a business owner, he's a father, and he is an advocate for his local community in a myriad of different projects, and that is something we are going to be talking about today. Welcome to the show, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited about being a part of your fatherhood, your Brotherhood of Fatherhood, and it really makes me just so happy being a dad that I can express myself to you guys and get the word out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm, you and I chatted the other day, so I have a lot of questions about some of the things you're doing, but let's go ahead and,
Sure.
I was going to say what you did in the intro, and I'm like, I'm going to let you say it because, you have multiple facets in your
Sure.
business. So go ahead and wrap our head around what you do.
Sure. Well, I've been in the industry of sports performance for about 30 years now, from the personal training side of things, cut my teeth in the original Nautilus principles. So literally counting slow reps for very wealthy clients outside of Philadelphia, which, wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it gave me the experience I needed, gave me the mentors that I needed to gear myself towards what I do now. For the past 15 years, actually going on 16, I own a Parisi Speed School in the Philadelphia suburbs. I also own a Training for Warriors affiliate that kind of sprang from the Parisi system and is more the adult model. So basically what I'm doing right now is I get to play all day, which is really exciting. I get to work with kids. I get to work with adults. Ultimately, I think that what I do is create belief, give people the confidence to do things they never thought they could do, set goals, all wrapped up in the fitness and the performance world. So really, in essence, it's this feeling of empowering people's lives with fitness. And I would say that's exactly what I do and how I do things.
Yeah, that's near and dear to my heart as a past gym owner, as well as being in the fitness field.
Sure.
For my career. So I love it. And I'm kind of new to the Parisi Speed School thing.
Sure.
But I've already picked your mind about it. Super interested. And then the TFW,
Right.
Training for Warriors, like you and I just barely tapped into that. And
Right.
I'm like, whoa. So we were connected through a mutual acquaintance, Eric Leclerc. And I know Eric, and he's very into tactical elements. He's very into training for athletes, but also training for preparation. So when you said TFW, Training for Warriors, I'm like, is that the connection with Eric? Or you had a business connection with Eric?
Yes, I had a business connection with Eric, but as it kind of grew and we talked in preliminary, when we were discussing things, we talked about kind of our common themes in training. And what I found was that originally Training for Warriors, when Martin Rooney designed it, it was designed specifically for mixed martial arts fighters. And then it kind of transitioned into a lot of the military personnel or police personnel in this country, the first responders and whatnot. In fact, I was in the first certification program, and the fitness instructors from the 75th Ranger Battalion were there. And it was an interesting dichotomy that I looked at it and go, well, I'm a fitness guy. These guys are warriors. And yet they were kind of mixing in with another group of people in the fitness world. And eventually Martin said, hey, look, this can absolutely apply to the general population. Because in reality, what you're teaching is you're giving people, again, in the midst of, I think, what is a crisis in this country of self-confidence, or a lack thereof self-confidence, you're giving a system that's breeding self-confidence. And yeah, we do it by sprinting and doing deadlifts and pull-ups and chin-ups and bench and all those, but you're essentially giving people belief again. And especially, Scott, especially nowadays, with what we're dealing with now, I think it's more important than ever to be really focused on, hey, how are you creating belief? How are you creating self-confidence? Not just, and I find this, that it's made me a better father as a result of it too, because
Right.
I can give those tools to my son, who at going on 11, really needs these. And so there was such a great connection with Eric over that, and talking about family and talking about what our commonality of goals were. And that's what kind of launched this and getting me involved with you.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm a firm believer in parents, fathers mostly, instilling those things that you talk about and that you mentioned multiple times now, and I wrote them down because they're so imperative, and that's creating belief and creating self-confidence. Because I'm not sure that we're all equipped, or we're not given a handbook. Hey, here's how to teach your kids to believe in themselves. And here's how you teach your kids self-confidence. Because a lot of times we weren't even modeled that growing up. Some of us were
Right.
blessed to, some weren't. And some of us have been in sports. That's some kind of where sports kind of tends to come in many people's lives.
Sure.
Gives them that opportunity. But I think we need to be extremely intentional about it. And it's such an important thing for fathers. So I'm really appreciative that's a focus of yours. You said your son is 11 years old. When you were, you've been operating in this business a lot longer. Did
Sure.
your vision of, this creating belief and creating self-confidence, has it morphed over the time that you've had a child? You brought a child, you're bringing a child up in the world. Has that changed or shifted that view?
Sure. I think that it's created a little different sense of responsibility about staking kind of a legacy and a future of my name. But more importantly, to make sure, my son's name is Cole, to make sure that Cole had the tools that I didn't have. Right. So I had a father who I loved very much, but my dad had flaws. My dad was an alcoholic and died at a very young age in his 40s. And I always have said this, and it's been a point of mine, that my dad did not die from that. What he died from is he lacked the skills and confidence to take care of himself. And I said from that point on, when Cole was brought into my life, and listen, I had Cole late. I'm going to be 53 years old. I have a soon to be 11-year-old son. I knew right away that I wanted to make sure that Cole had the tools that I didn't have, that I wasn't given as a result of my father passing early or having the flaws that he had. So I really believe that Cole's changed my entire outlook on even coaching and the way I behave in coaching and the way I approach business, how it's changed so dramatically, so differently from my 20s and 30s with a child now. So yeah, I would say Cole matured me in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Kids have a way of doing that, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So let's rewind 11 years ago when Cole was born, and you're a business owner.
Yes.
What kind of things changed, and when did those aha moments happen? Because I think a lot of times we have these aha moments like, oh my, I'm doing something totally wrong, or whatever the case.
Well, I would tell you what the major wrong thing was: working 15, 16, 17 hours a day. And what I found is that I was losing myself in that. And it was so easy to just do that. I identified as a coach. I just identified, hey, not only as a coach, Scott, but like constantly working was a badge of honor for me, and saying, I'm not getting any sleep. I'm not eating right. And yet I was furiously training still myself, still competing in track in the 100 and the 200, and not finding time for myself really. And then when I met Cole's mom, things kind of shifted and changed. And having Cole, now I also tell you this, Cole had his struggles. Cole was on a feeding tube for the first 3 years of his life. And to sit down and have to take him down to Children's Hospital in Philadelphia every single morning, do the feeding clinic, learn all these different techniques that we had to do, and then drop him off with his mother and come back up to the gym and coach people until 9 or 10 at night. What I found was I couldn't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And, 2 knee replacements later, I found that I had physically beaten myself to a pulp. But it's very interesting. I did not really figure this out. I didn't truly figure out that Cole had made a change in my life until about 5 years in. When Cole was about 5 years old, and he said to me, he goes, Daddy, he goes, you're not around as much as I'd like.
Isn't it amazing?
And, yep. And from then on, I will tell you this, Scott, I never worked another Wednesday in my life. Mm-hmm. I have Cole, I actually have more custody of Cole than I would say most. I have 85% custody. Sometimes it's 100%. And I have a very good relationship with his mother. We parallel parent really well. But from that point on, I said, wait a second, I am not going to allow my business to interfere with the relationship I'm building with my son. In fact, actually it's made my business better as a result of that realization and that understanding that what's really truly important is the relationships in your life. And your business is not a relationship. It builds relationships,
Right.
but it is not the relationship.
Yeah. You may or may not have heard this, and many people may or may not have heard this, but in our very first podcast episodes, we talked about our origin stories, and mine literally comes from the same kind of, you cut from the same cloth. Like I was a full-time educator and coach, plus I owned a business, and I started that when I had my first child. And at age 5, 6, 7, is when I looked up, age 6 for him, and my other was young, like 2. I looked up and I knew nothing about them because I was working from about 4 a.m. till 8 to 9 p.m. And, it was a badge of honor putting in those hours and providing for my family. I'm being the big man here. And I had that aha moment. Mine was an empty table with dinner on it and the lights out in the house. I can't even imagine my son saying, "You're not around as much as you want," because those moments are the moments that you really wished you would have caught it before it happened.
True.
Right. Yeah. So that's
true.
the big aha moment, or that defining moment. So you say you stayed home every Wednesday from then on?
Yep.
Okay.
And by the way, continue to do that. So Wednesdays, even when, and of course, now with COVID, he has half days. So I get to spend, I'm actually spending a lot of time with him. And I said that in the end, this is kind of a blessing. I'm spending more time with the people I really care and love about more.
So true.
And that's been a very important thing. Now, that's not to say the people in my business, because I have a very unique culture in my business where they're part of my family. They're an extension of my family. And so it's relationship driven. And in reality, like I said, we've had some, I've called this, I would say this is the greatest time of opportunity that we've ever had as business owners and as parents and as siblings and children. We have a unique opportunity. This is not an obstacle. This is an opportunity now. And the people that are taking it are finding more happiness now than I think they ever thought possible.
Yeah.
Crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. I really like that. And I think that's the right mindset. We're in a time right now where we're starting to see a resurgence of some more issues of this, and people are going to I think they're going to slide back into like the woe is me, and businesses are going to, that survived round 1 might belly up, because it's looking like it could be hitting again. And I already know that Europe just closed down for a month, and it's already taking its toll on the gyms and the business owners I know there. So to have that mindset going into it, like, what's the good coming out of this? What this is happening. And as Jocko would say, good, like what are we going to bring from this? So I love that.
Sure.
I think it's a great message to send out right now.
Like, I agree. Totally agree.
Plant that stake in the ground. It's coming. Good. What am I going to do with it? And being forced to have time with your family is an amazing thing, isn't it?
I agree. I love it. It's great. I've experienced, it's just a great feeling to be able to reconnect and really, really deeply connect, which is, I think, was lacking when we were running around, like you said, with our businesses and not focusing on, we're thinking, oh yeah, when we're done, but you're not done.
Never.
So,
yeah. So I want to visit a statement you said. So sure. We're very, very keen on helping marriages survive, not go to the divorce stage. But you are in a fractured marriage. You're not married to your son's mother anymore. But
Correct.
You mentioned that you parallel parent, and I'm very interested in that comment, because we do have single parents that listen to this, and I don't want to. It's not we're not unserving them. We just want to. We have our certain focus. So sure. I love that comment. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think that there's a misconception, especially but listen, it can happen in a married household as well, where people talk about, oh, well, we're co-parenting. Well, it's not co-parenting. In parallel parenting, you're going to have 2 clearly different personality types that are doing their best to merge the goals that they're trying to set for their children. So while Cole's mom and I now don't always see eye to eye on everything, there will always be a common level of respect that we've got. And we've maintained that. We've been able to do that quite well. Yeah, there are bumps in the road, of course, but there's bumps in the road in a marriage as well. Absolutely. So we do a very good job of advocating for our son and making sure that Cole is provided love from two separate households. And it actually tracks back to our relationships, my relationship with my girlfriend, that, she loves Cole. And that's a big thing. And Cole's mom's boyfriend really loves Cole as well. And it's creating that synergy and maintaining that synergy and making sure that the other parties understand that there's not a conflict. It's cooperation. And if you can do that and you can find that middle ground, the old adage, because I think what it is we're always set up in marriage or divorce or separation for conflict. Because we think that that's, you're supposed to be in conflict. You're not supposed to like each other. And even if there was a wrong done, you still have to find a way, because the child's what matter. The children matter. What common goals do you have to make sure that you don't fracture that child's relationship with either parent?
Yep.
And I think that's really, really important, whether you are married, separated, or divorced, or a single parent. I think you have to, unless there's something egregious that the other party did, then you have to consider something else. But I really believe in that. You're separately raising the child with common goals.
Yeah, I think that's
what I think it is.
The key, the statement that came to my mind, or you said, I don't remember what, but I wrote it down, was common mission. And I think a lot of parents who have, two different homes, they're sharing the raising of their child, forget that that's their big common mission. Like, they created this person,
I love it,
brought them into the world, and a lot of times that their actions are obviously doing more harm because they lose vision. They lose vision of what the mission is. The mission is raising this child into a contributing adult of society who has the best chances provided by us to succeed and to know how to fight adversity and climb and do the things they need to do and meet challenges. And I think that common mission, I really want to commend you for that. I don't know that that's super normal, but I would love for people to embrace that as normal.
Yeah, I would like to see more people embrace it, that it would be in this situation I'm in now. Listen, it didn't come without its bumps. I mean, there were some very difficult times, but nevertheless, it's this level of mutual respect. And
Yeah.
if you can do that, you've created the right environment to raise your children in a separate family households or separate family households. Yeah, I like, you said it. It's common mission. You definitely said that. But I mean, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because bottom line, I mean, like I said, you brought those in that human life together. And so yes, if you can raise it together and have a common goal, then you're definitely doing a good job. So you have been in the fitness industry for 30 plus years at least, right? And so
yes,
what has been your impact? Like, we walk through, we've got this, this is my career. This is what I do, right? Hopefully that's not your identity. We'll talk a lot about not tying your identity to your work, but what is the big impact that you want to leave having done this work for 30 years and more to come?
Well, it's so funny when you talk about that, because I'm a senior coach with Parisi, and I go and I certify staffs. And one of the big things we talk about, and this is what's unique about our certification system, both in Parisi and Training for Warriors, is it boils down to your legacy.
Yeah.
And what's your true mission? It's not about the training. The training's the easiest part. To be honest with you, that's great. A jumping jack's a jumping jack, and the squat's a squat. But what are you here for? And what's your overall kind of your goal, your mission? And I will tell you this, it's morphed for me from being a young coach at 21, when I was saying to myself, I want to train pro athletes. I did that, and they didn't excite me. It didn't excite me. What has excited me is this: I'm a part of something bigger than me. Then from that, I can then go out into the community and help those people in need based on the industry that I'm in. So if I can go help someone, if I can create events to help people, if I can champion certain causes, I've done what I've been put here on earth to do. And so for me, It's that I'm in a business that I can now take myself into the situations that I can help more people. I can do charity work. I can impact people. I can make people have the confidence that they need to go out and be better leaders, better fathers, better kids, better peers in this world. And in a nutshell, that to me, it's all about service.
And
So it's for me, that's it.
I love that. And we were talking earlier, I did a podcast that just released just recently with JC Wagaman, who owns an insurance agency. And the only way he wanted to get back into insurance after leaving it for kind of not loving the way it operated, some of the behind the scenes things, was if I'm going to come back, it's going to be a give back type of scenario. And he has part of his business, the pivotal part of his business plan was, we are giving back X amount of revenue to a local charity that helps people who need help. And I think that the message here is, chasing dollars will not get you where you want to be. It's an endless chase, right?
I agree.
And when you give back, I'm talking to folks now who have a longevity in what they're doing, and they're finding true purpose, mission, vision, and energy on giving back.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and that's super exciting, and that's I love seeing that. And the beauty of it is, it's just going to it's not the focus. And I'm going to say it for you, but your business will thrive when you have that type of mindset. Things will work themselves out always for the better when you're giving back. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and I think it changes who you are as an individual, which also opens you up to new ideas about where your business is going.
Yeah.
And if you can be truly altruistic and give back to the community that you're in, but also I'm a big believer in giving back to communities I don't even know. Even people within my own network, and they'll say, "Can you do this for us?" Yes, of course I can. It's a no-brainer, Scott.
And I think that's a really good point, because those most in need may not be from our own communities, right? We may not have that opportunity at that moment. Maybe we're just not in the right circles, or our customer base isn't covering those needs. So what are some of the things that you're doing? Let's talk about putting the money where your mouth is. What has happened over here?
Well, the big thing is, and I want to kind of, if I can go to what created this for me.
Absolutely.
So in 2014, here in the Philadelphia area, we had a horrific case of a child murdered by his mother and her boyfriend. And it was so graphic and so horrible that veteran police officers literally got sick and vomited when they went and they found this boy. So here I was hearing about this in my community, and I was driving home from the sports complex one night, and I was listening on the radio, and I can't explain it, Scott. I just got off the exit, turned completely around, and went to the memorial service for this little boy. And as I was there and seeing this community come together, I said, okay, I got to do something. I don't know what it is. I just know I'm involved in a program in Training for Warriors that was doing a lot for people in their communities. And I felt compelled to do something. And we created a fundraiser for the little boy's older brother, who's, by the way, in a very happy situation, living with his aunt and uncle, great stuff. We raised a lot of money for a college fund. And Scott, 2 days later, I got a call from somebody who said, hey, would you think about doing a fundraiser for a child that was the victim of shaken baby syndrome in South Carolina? I didn't even know what it was. So I did my research and I said, done deal, got to do it. Contacted the Training for Warriors in Greenville, South Carolina, went down to Greenville, South Carolina, did this fundraiser for this little boy, and he was there. The little boy was there and had survived. But, tragically, it's going to be very difficult for this child growing up. Very little brain function, but nevertheless, doesn't matter. You do things because it's the right thing to do. And so I started to travel around the country doing fundraisers for kids who I didn't even know. And the reason why is because, man, I have a son, and why wouldn't I do this to help somebody else? And so it never stopped. And what I'm blessed with is, and I say blessed because I am. I'm in an organization that gives me the platform to do this.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a great example. We're doing a big one coming up very shortly for this boy named Connor Dobbin. And it's by happenstance, one of my Training for Warrior students. So we don't call anybody a member. They're called students because we look at it from the learning perspective that everybody's learning no matter how old you are. So you're a student. She came to me and she talked to me about this family locally and said, if you don't know what Sanfilippo syndrome is, it's basically childhood Alzheimer's. And I read a little bit about it. And then I said, hey, and her name was Carrie. I said, Carrie, I got to meet his family. I got to meet his family. And his dad and his stepmom came in right before the pandemic hit. And I said, it was a done deal in my mind. They were telling me all about it. And I go, okay, guys, yeah, I'm in.
Right.
Like I'm in. Let's start talking about the event. But then the pandemic hit, but I never lost focus of his story. And it morphed into my local facility here in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, to a worldwide facility. Basically, and I say facility because we're all going to be doing it at the same time on December 13th. I've got TFW Kuwait, TFW in Brisbane, Australia. We've got Training for Warriors all over the country here. And here's the cool thing about it. It's very interesting. Most of the Training for Warriors owners, if you talk to them, there are a lot of dads.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of dads.
Cool.
And it was almost like I would just tell them, show them the story, what happened, what's going on with Connor. And they'd be like, I'm in, let's go. What's happening? What are we doing? How are we doing it? So right now we're up to 11 TFWs and 4 Parisi speed schools that are going to be doing events simultaneously with us. And here's what it is. Sanfilippo right now, there's a genetic, they're looking at it from this perspective that they think they found the cure, but it's going to cost a lot of money to do this on this kind of trial run on Connor. And if they do this, they may be able to stop it dead in its tracks and then prevent it in the future. How could I not look at my own son and not do this?
So this is an opportunity actually to be kind of like the cutting edge, to provide an opportunity for this to make a huge impact for the future.
Yes.
This Sanfilippo. Yeah.
And,
yeah. So I kind of see the drive.
Yeah. I got a lot of passion for people.
Yeah.
And it's funny, right before this, I was on a call with the marketing director of the Cure Sanfilippo Foundation, and then also Connor's stepmom, who's very heavily involved with the process behind this. So it's pretty awesome. And Connor's dad and Connor's mom also. I mean, the kid was just featured on WebMD.
Oh, wow.
He was in People magazine. He's been in the Daily Mirror in England. And I see this outpouring, this incredible outpouring. And the way my organization is again, I keep saying this, people are just like, yep, all right, no brainer, it's done deal, let's get it done. And I love what I do. And if I can do this to help people raise funds and raise awareness, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's happening. So I'm pretty excited about it, pretty passionate about it. But here's the cool thing, and you'll love this. My son's passionate about it.
Yeah.
And Cole said to me, Dad, I will do anything I can to help you with this.
So you've already started a legacy.
Yes.
When your kids pick up on the positive things that you're doing, and probably will repeat it. I mean, He's already getting involved. That's a legacy. So, that's a true testament. How do you get? I mean, you have 15 facilities or 15 groups involved in this.
Yes. And
you have that's a network that you're built into.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so, I too have a large network of gym owners, and I'm thinking, okay, so I think the message here is that it's really easy to not be involved and not to give back because it hasn't touched us personally.
Sure.
But the idea is to kind of put yourself in those shoes. That is a father that I met with his son who has this is a disability or disease. he has this thing that is severely affecting his future, his life. And I have an opportunity to make an impact. I have an opportunity to change the course of the future for
Sure.
years to come. Yeah. So my personal challenge is that if the gym owners are listening to this, and they're not going to be TFW or Parisi
Doesn't matter.
Speed School. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't matter.
what's the event you're doing? How do you do these?
So what we're going to do is we call them charity hurricane events, where
Mhm.
hurricane is part of our TFW system, where it's the metabolic training. There's sprinting involved. There's exercises in between the sprints. It's usually 3 rounds of that. Now we're obviously going to do other things. We're going to have contests with chin-ups and push-ups, and we're going to have races. And we're also going to add a kid element to it with the Parisi Speed School. It's basically a fitness event where we come up with a workout. We come up with some challenges that people go through, basically sweating and smiling.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, like, I have some good friends. I have a friend out of Syracuse, New York, that has his own personal training program, his own speed and agility program, and he's getting involved because it's the right thing to do, and it's the network that we've got. And what we do is basically put together this program. Each we call our TFWs dojos, Scott, because we always look at it from Do and Joe. It's the path or the way, and that's what we should be doing. This is the path, and this is the way. And we would say to people, hey, you can come up with your own kind of ideas of what your charity fundraiser looks like, as long as we're all serving a common goal.
Yeah.
And like you said, that common mission. I've talked to friends of mine. I actually talked to a rival sports speed and conditioning program around here, and they were kind of stunned. And they said, so you want us involved? I said, why wouldn't I want you involved? I have a lot of respect for them. Why wouldn't I? This isn't about competition. This is about cooperation and to help somebody. And they're in your community, so you got to do it. And they're going to do it.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, it's pretty impressive what's happening here.
And I think that's a whole nother conversation we could talk about, is having an abundance mindset. Like, it's okay to work with competitors on a common mission, because there's plenty of people for both of us to thrive in our business.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Absolutely.
Put away our own personal fears to benefit the community, and things will happen in the right direction when you do that. So
that's the truth.
So this particular event is December 13th, but I have no doubt you'll have something coming. I mean, how many events or how many things do you do a year on average? I know it's probably not a specific thing, but
it varies. There's generally, if we're from a local level, we'll do things 4 or 5 times a year.
Oh, wow.
From a national level, Training for Warriors, we'll do some national events. We've done some stuff for the J Club. We've actually I think if there's gym owners on here, they'll love to hear this. We've set some world records, literal world records in Training for Warriors. We did the most amount of deadlifting weight moved in an hour by a group. We were up, I think it was 4 million pounds we moved in an hour.
In one location?
One location in Charlotte,
4
North
million
Carolina.
pounds?
4 million pounds. It was 3,855,000 to be exact.
Okay.
So, and then we set a world record in the most amount of people doing a push-up at the same exact minute all over the world. And that was a remarkable thing. And then we set a world record, these crazy sit-outs. I'm not a physical fan of them. They're all the wrestling moves and the MMA movements. But we did that right in Niagara Falls. And so we set the world record in that as well. And it was all for charity. So it's all good. The proceeds were going towards charity. And that's the key to it all. And plus we got to dress as superheroes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That
is cool. So a little plug, because, TFW is new for me. A little plug for them. This is, anybody can step in and do a Training for Warriors program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You become an affiliate. I'm always very happy to say that I was the first affiliate. I'm the oldest standing affiliate in the whole world, because I knew what Martin Rooney had created. And it was that culture that he created. Yeah, anybody can be. I mean, I've got some friends who have both a CrossFit and a TFW that coexist in the same building, because, and this, some people will like one thing, they'll like, or they won't like another thing. And so I think again, even in the same building, there's room for creative competition.
Oh, heck yeah.
I believe that. Yeah.
No, you told me what the TFW kind of the program was like. I was like,
right.
I would totally enjoy that. I would totally get into it.
You definitely would. You'd get into it.
Right. Yeah. And then the Parisi School, speed school is
Sure.
that's more athlete
Yes.
focused and
Yes.
probably mostly student athletes, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Youth sports performance. You'd say
Yeah.
that the majority of our athletes are 7 to 17 years old.
Yeah.
And then if you're blessed with being in a community where you could train some pro athletes getting ready for the NFL Combine, then we've got that too.
Right.
But that's youth. That's youth. But here's the key. The culture is the same. You're teaching responsibility, confidence. You're teaching life skills to these kids that a lot of times parents are not doing it.
Yeah.
And so if we can fill that void and help the parent with that, very happy to do that.
Well, and the truth is when you have so I did a summer fitness / leadership course
Sure.
for my son's friends. So I did a summer camp. Basically, they'd come in, they would work out, but always leadership.
Love it.
Personal development, growth type of thing. And I taught that group of 8 boys more about leadership than I'd ever taught to my own son. He was in the group, and it was a phenomenal opportunity because now it's a defined time. And
Sure.
I had an absolute, directive of what I was teaching, and I had the audience, and parents just they want to teach those things, and they teach them through modeling. But sometimes you need someone to actually lay the foundations and lay those things out, because parenting is hard. We're working.
Yes.
So if you're it's worth putting your kid into a program where they're going to get those foundational things. And I think
agree.
a lot of parents miss the fact that functional fitness gyms, speed and conditioning, or speed and agility, those things, when you send them to a trainer or to a facility, those things are usually built into that program for youth.
I agree.
Martial arts, all these things, they get your kids into these, because as intentional as you are about training them, they are paid and have developed that. Well, ask questions first. Like, what other than the physical part, what are you teaching? But that's my encouragement to parents out there. Get them involved in these things.
Yeah, they got to be. And it ends up being the art of coaching. And as a coach, what you're doing is you're creating an environment that's going to teach them the skills that they need as they get older. Listen, Scott, I had, and this is what's incredible about coaching. I always say popularity is temporary and respect is timeless. And I had an athlete I coached when he was in high school, as a high school track athlete. So here I was, 22 years old, coaching kids who were 17, 18 years old. Well, he and his wife are head coaches of a track team up in Vermont. He called me. He goes, "Hey, coach, I got a question for you." And I said, "Hey, Nate, man, you're like in your 40s, like late 40s with your own children. You don't have to call me coach." And he said, I can't not call you coach." And I thought, wow, was that the impact that I made on him?
Oh yeah.
Wow. And it's then it's the impact that they make on you that changes you. And to me, you're absolutely right that if you can, and just like for me, I want my son to have great coaches out. It's hard for me to coach him. Yeah. So I'd rather him be coached by somebody else who's modeling that great behavior.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my challenge is, even if you are an amazing coach, to have your kid have another amazing coach.
I know.
Right?
It's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Because it's always different when it's so important to always have a coach outside of your family.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I want to wrap this up with an opportunity for you to we're going to put it in the show notes, how to get a hold of you and all the information, but
sure.
Plug this thing as a final note.
Yeah, I think that what you'd be looking for is it's the Cure San Filippo Foundation, and it's going to be Save Connor. And if and Scott, I'm going to give you all the information. There's an impact movie that was made that was at a film festival. It's about 3 minutes long. Here's what I'll tell you: any parent must watch this, and believe me, you will not have a dry eye. I still, even if I watch it now, I get very, very emotional watching it. And then, I encourage anybody on any level, if they want to contact me, and I know that in the show notes, we're going to have all that information. They're willing, and I will be very happy to talk to anybody about not just this, but anything that they want to discuss with me about coaching, motivation, all those different things, fatherhood. I would love to connect and talk to people about this.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, first, I really want to thank you for several things. I, I love the parenting talk we had.
It was awesome.
It's not a perspective I come from, so it's very important for me to talk to people who have success in that area when they're co-parenting, but
yes,
more in line parallel parenting. I think it's a wonderful thing that needs to be thought through for those people that are doing that now. And second of all, for impacting so many lives and taking such an active position, your approach, like you messaged me, and it wasn't like, oh, not another one. It was like, oh, wow, got to get on this one. So the passion is there. It's very,
I appreciate it.
Very transparent, and I love it. And it obviously you can probably attest to this. I messaged right back, what can I do?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah. So your passion comes through, and I want to lift you up for that, because I know it's making a huge impact. So that's awesome, man.
Well, and listen, I'm honored that I've been on this podcast, and I tell you why. Like for me, it's, can you have faith in what you do? Can you have faith in the relationships that you built? And can you have faith in yourself? And if you can do that, you're going to be, here's what I'll tell you. God put me down here for a reason, and I know the reason. Yeah. And so for me, I love what I do because I can help more people. Scott, I mean, it's just who I am. It's in my DNA, and that's what I want. It's what I'm so blessed I can have come on your platform and express that. So it's exciting. Yeah, it's really cool.
It is. Well, thank you. And for all my listeners, if you know our values, it's FATHER, and the T stands for tribe. And we need to have a tribe, and we need to take care of our tribe. And so I would challenge every single one of you out there to do something, whether it's with this or something in your community. But right now you have the opportunity to be involved in this in some way. And the information's in the show notes. Eric is an amazing human being. I think you see that. I think you see the true passion and the humility and the effort to truly leave an impact. And this is a great opportunity for you to leave a legacy with your children. Get them involved with you. Don't do it alone. Don't just go do it. Get them involved with you. And thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I would encourage you to do several things. First of all, subscribe so you can get these inspiring stories, learn how to be a better father, better husband. Second of all, leave us a rating so that we get more exposure. So the message of being a better father can get out to the masses. And then we also have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe there if you'd rather watch. We appreciate every single one of you. I'm hoping you have an amazing week. Carry on.